I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to live with intention to manifest your reality. For me personally, anytime I've not lived with intention and a specific purpose behind, it's going to sound kind of crazy because I don't know, I can just see how this could sound kind of nuts, but if I don't live with purpose behind every single action, and I mean like every single action. I know that sounds crazy. It's like, isn't that a little bit like, isn't that like too much? Like, isn't that like a little bit, isn't that like taking it a little bit too far? That's like, but for me, if I don't do everything with a specific intention, I just find I start to feel very like sluggish and very just like unfulfilled, you know, like, and I start like repeating the same kinds of experiences. Like if I want like a new experience, like a new depth to what it is that I'm doing in my life, if I want like a new feeling, a feeling of like, yes, I'm getting better, and there is a level of sameness in terms of like, yep, I'm still building off what I used to be. But if I want some kind of like new depth to who I'm being and how I'm showing up in the world, I find that like I need to live with intention. I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to do that so that you can attract what it is that you want into your life and make it a lot easier to get what you want. Because in my experience, the only times that I start to experience, you know, a situation where I'm not creating what I want and things are slowing down is when I'm not living with intention. So once again, I want to be sharing with you how to do that in this video. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell. Also, the only ways to work with me one-on-one personally right now is through single sessions as well as email coaching. And both the details for both of those things, if you want to get in contact with me personally, will be down below. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you is an invitation. Okay, and that invitation is to do everything with a purpose. With a purpose. You know, let me ask you this. How much purpose do you have behind your actions? Do you know why you're doing it? Do you have an intention? Are you honest about those intentions when you talk about people? Now, here's another question. How can you be honest about your intentions at all if you don't even know what they are? You know, that's a really good question. Is it even possible to be honest about your intentions if you don't even know what they are? You know what I mean? It's like, if you don't even know what those intentions are, how are you going to be honest? And that's when in my experience, when you're in a social interaction, or when you're talking with somebody, or you're going through your life, this is when relationships start to become, I don't want to say like weird, but like, I don't know how else to say it, kind of weird, when like awkward, is when you're going into a connection, when you're going through life and you don't know why you're doing it, people are going to sense like a dishonesty from you. Why? Well, it's not necessarily that you're being dishonest. You might be telling the truth, but in a way, when you have zero intention, you don't know why you're doing something. And the way that you come across, in my experience, the way that I come across when I don't have intentions, clear intentions, is that it's like there's something off about this person. But when you have an intention, you would think, I used to think, okay, if I know my intention and I'm honest about this, not that you have to like share everything. Sometimes it is about, playing with, have fun, you don't like be honest, but don't like overshare unnecessarily something that just feels like awkward to you, right? But what I am saying though is to be as honest as possible within the confines that it makes sense to share that thing, and that person is also going to be like, okay, I appreciate that, right? Because some things are just meant to be for you and only for you. You don't have to like share everything. But I find that when I do everything with a purpose, I just know how to show up in my life. I know how to show up for others. Usually I start connecting with others that also have a similar purpose as well. So this deeper intelligence within me knows exactly what to say, and they also resonate deeply with what I'm saying, because what's happening is that I have a purpose and I'm connecting with other beings and other people that have, if not the exact same purpose, an extremely similar purpose, and we join forces and we work together. Okay, now this is about understanding, in my experience, that living with a purpose is absolutely an amazing thing to do when it comes to attracting what you want. And also, in my experience, just to have an overall sense of fulfillment and well-being and just overall feeling healthy, overall feeling, like you're in a sustainable energy where you're gonna feel how you want to feel in the long term, and all these amazing things that everybody deeply wants. In my personal experience, at least, this is just what I want. I can't speak for everybody, right? Maybe people don't have that intention, right? I don't know. But for me, it's good to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. So my question to you again, before I get to the second point, is do you know why you're doing what you're doing? Do you know when you go to talk and connect with a person, do you know why you're doing that? For me, I like to have the people in my life close, deep, authentic, real connections where we have a genuine exchange of value and we both know why we have that interaction. We know why. There's no, some people are just like friends for no, it's like, what is a friend? What is actually a friend? If somebody is not helping you to become better, if somebody is draining your energy, are they really a friend? Now, I want to be very careful here, though. It's very easy to just hear something like that. I used to just like drop everybody out of your life and blame. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to judge people and then to take, you hear something like that, this person's not helping me, I'm going to just cut them out of my life. Look, you got to be careful sometimes. You don't want to make any bold and emotional decisions, just cut people out of your life out of nowhere, because first of all, do you know your purpose, right? Because the people around you could be the perfect people for you. I personally made really ridiculous decisions where I cut out people from my life and I blocked them, and sometimes it was very effective and good that I did that. Other times I realized, wait a second, I forgot my intention and how aligned this person actually is with what I'm creating. So it's important to just be careful with those kinds of decisions in my experience. And first of all, before you do anything, before you make any bold decisions in your life, just know your intention. And you'll know what to do. In my experience, when you know your intention, you just, I don't know how to say, you just kind of know what to do. You just kind of know. You just kind of know. It's like you have this, you just know. You have an emotional, your common sense becomes amplified. Common sense can become dampened and very hindered when we don't know our intentions. In my experience, if I don't know my intention, my common sense can just go out. I don't know how, it just goes. Honestly, it just goes down the drain sometimes. But if I know my intentions, my common sense is absolutely amazing. Now, the second thing that I want to share with you in this video, if you're resonating with this idea of living with intention, it might sound a little bit backwards. Might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but what I want to share with you to conclude this video is to never attach to your intention. Don't attach to the intention. See, in my experience, life is the ultimate balancing act where you're perfectly aligning with your intention. You know exactly why you're doing it. You are very honest with those intentions, so honest that people will be kind of shocked sometimes how honest you are. This person is just so honest. I want to connect with them, right? It's like you can be honest about your past, you can be honest about where you are, and you can be honest about where you're going. How much more authenticity can you get from an individual than to be honest about all those three areas? But in my experience, though, the key, though, is simultaneously while all this is happening, is to never attach to the intention and the emotion. So when I say the emotion, here's in a video that I posted, yesterday or about 2 days ago, I think I talked about being normal. This idea of being normal. So I think that oftentimes we can forget that one of the most powerful attraction tools that you have in your arsenal in life is to simply be normal. To be normal, just to not not be weird, right? And if you want to know more about that, the video will be right there. I'm not going to go too deep on that because I think it's such a powerful topic. But what I want to share with you though is that if you start to feel like you're genuinely being out of alignment with your intentions and you're forcing your way just a little bit too much into your desire, don't attach to that. Because this is about, what I'm sharing with you here is about the bigger picture. This is about building, and some people I think, I don't want to say don't think about this, because I think everybody deep inside does think about this and want this. But I guess I'll just speak from my past self like usual so that I don't judge or attack or blame others. Because whenever I say things like, 99% of people don't do this, it's like, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I resonate with saying stuff like that, because I think that everybody inside, every person, every being knows that this is the way. That's what I think. I think, what I think? I'm going to flip it around and say something that nobody has ever said before, or very little people have probably said. It's not that 99% of people don't do this, it's that 100% of people know this is the way, but sometimes we forget. And in my experience, I've forgotten, so I'm going to speak from past self here, if I attach to the intention, what's happening there is that I'm forgetting the bigger picture. I'm forgetting that I always care about sustainability. And I think that, again, 99% of people can forget this sometimes. 100% of people can forget sometimes. I forgot this sometimes. But when I attach to the intention, what's happening is that I'm forcing something that I just don't need to. So for example, let's say I'm working on a project with somebody and we've been working on this project for 2 hours, 3 hours, we're working together, we're joining forces, and at some point a problem arises. And by the way, we already know our intentions. We already know what we're creating. It doesn't matter what the project is necessarily. It can be anything, right? Whether, it can be anything. Any project where you're joining forces with somebody, right? I don't even need to give an example. Just something that you're working on. Anything, literally anything, right? You're connecting with somebody, and at some point you both feel like you're getting drained. You both feel like it's not working. In my experience, what I used to do is I would let my emotions get the best of me, and I would, because what happens is that when you're drained, when you're tired, when you're not at full capacity, there's a higher probability of getting into this kind of like judgy energy where you're like judging the person, right? Where you're like judging yourself, where all you're seeing is like all the problems. It's almost like you have this haze, this sort of haze just blocking your entire perception of reality. And it's like, God, and then from that space, that's where a lot of the bad decisions come in my life that I've realized. So if you're working on a project with somebody, rather than making a crazy bold decision like ending the project or getting in this sort of like judgmental energy, or starting to see that person for, maybe even like bringing up the past, it's so easy to like bring up who a person used to be. And let's be honest here. Let's get authentic here. Nobody likes that. You know what I mean? Nobody likes to be viewed for who they used to be, because we're always changing. We're always growing. And to see somebody for who they used to be, that's so selfish. Isn't that so selfish? To see somebody for who they used to be, like that's not them. And oftentimes we like to do that. I used to do this a lot, and it still comes up within me from time to time, but here I'm going to share through what I do instead. If I notice that I'm starting to see somebody for who they used to be, for their past self, I get judgy, all that's showing me is like, okay, I'm tired, I'm drained. Here's what I do. I don't attach the intention. I say, you know what? Let's take a break and let's pick back up on this another time. Maybe tomorrow, maybe 2 days from now, let's schedule another time to get back into this. And you'll find that that problem, that challenge, all that energy that could have caused complete havoc and chaos for both parties, you come back from a fresh perspective, the problem usually gets solved instantly. And all this stuff that could have happened, all this negative stuff doesn't happen, and you keep working on the project, and the project becomes better, and things start to move forward. And you know what? This, in my experience, is the key to really, fulfilling a project, fulfilling a desire. And in my experience, it's one of the only ways, because what happens is that there's going to be problems on the way to your intention. It's going to happen. It's not going to, it's not that I want to be pessimistic, but sometimes it's not a matter of if the challenges are going to arise. And it's really a question of when and how you're going to deal with them. Like if you're working on something brand new in the entire freaking universe that has never been created before, and your goal joining forces to create something new that has been being created for the first time in history, do you really think that you're not going to experience challenges? And do you really think that you're not going to have to be emotionally intelligent to make sure that you don't have some sort of like you don't start attacking each other in the sense that you argue or complain? You're going to watch out for these things, because human nature is about conflict sometimes, and that's who we used to be, right? But humans are becoming more intelligent in my experience, and what we're learning to do is to use our intelligence to come together and not create conflict. And if there is conflict, to intelligently work with that conflict and still not get our emotions involved. You should evolve your emotions, don't involve your emotions. So what I'm saying is that don't attach the intention. And what I'm sharing with you here, I believe, is actually one of the most powerful advice, some of the most powerful information you can take to really succeed and fulfill any project or desire in terms of working with somebody, or just you're doing it yourself. You can apply this to your own experience. If you're working on a project alone, if you're noticing you're getting too tired, too drained, the most wise decision to make, in my experience, is to pull back and revisit it at a later time. Go do something else. Because you have more than one intention usually in your life, right? In my experience, I'm usually working on more than one thing. I'm usually working on many projects at a time, and I manage my time effectively to be able to give my full capacity to each project. So some people on YouTube, and I've noticed, will say, don't work on many things at a time, work on one thing. I do one thing at a time, but I usually work on many things. That's how I like to do things. And I don't like to put my eggs into one basket, and I like to be focused on many things at a time and see that they all simultaneously work together for me. And I'm in this sort of amazing, it's a bunch of different parts working together, and I love it that way. That's how I like to do it. But here's the thing though, if I'm focusing on this one thing in this present moment, I know that I said I was conclude the video, by the way, but I just wanted to share this. I want to keep going with this point. If I notice that I'm getting drained or tired, whether I'm working with somebody or working by myself, what I've found is the key to do is to not attach to that emotion of feeling drained and tired, and where I start feeling like I'm noticing all these past versions of me, all the past versions of them, and say, you know what, look, I'm getting emotional right now. If I'm working by myself, I'm going to say to myself, okay, I'm not going to say it really, but I'm going to notice it and be conscious of this. But what's happening there is, okay, I'm getting emotional, I'm getting tired, I need to rest and recharge. And then I come back, and I usually solve that problem very quickly, very easily, very effortlessly, or it doesn't happen right away. But in my experience, the only way to solve that problem and challenge on the way to that intention is to come back at it with a fresh perspective. If I'm with somebody, same thing, right? I'm getting tired, I'm getting drained, I need to come back to this at a later time. I'll communicate that, I'll speak to that, and they'll appreciate that a lot. People will really appreciate this, because they'll see that, you know what, this person is emotionally intelligent, and they're going to start to learn from the way you are too, and also become like that, and you're going to work together, and it's I think it's just amazing. I think it's beautiful, and I think that this is what human beings are, I don't want to say destined to do, but I think that's what human beings are best at, is working together and coming together with a specific intention. That's what I think we're good at. Now, to conclude this video for real this time, actually, the final point in this video that I want to share with you is never to hope that your intention is going to happen. See, I associate hoping with an attachment to an emotion of the past and who you used to be, some belief in lack. It's either a projection where you're hoping that this person's going to show up for you because you can't take care of your own needs, or you're hoping that you're going to figure it out because you believe and you're attached to some past identity of who you used to be that's out of alignment with your intention. See, when you get really good at aligning with your intentions, I find that any energy of hoping or desperation, in my experience, that's my cue. That's my cue. If I'm hoping, if I'm desperate, if I'm drained, if I'm tired, that's literally my cue from the entire freaking universe. My body, my emotions are telling me, take a step back and revisit this at a later time. And I know I've said that before in this video, but I want to make it so clear because, again, sometimes you might hear concepts in these videos and you might be like, God, Francis says very similar things sometimes. And it sounds kind of repetitive. But the question is, has it actually landed? That's the question. I believe that sometimes, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, I believe that sometimes, more oftentimes than we realize, some of the most simple concepts that might sound repetitive are actually the most powerful concepts that if you actually apply are going to be the most life-changing concepts. Because let's be honest, the people that judge, that say like, you know what, like that person always says that, you know, I've heard that before. Here's the question, are they doing it? Oftentimes, to judge something out there and to say that I've heard that before, what is that? That's getting emotional, and that's a distraction. It's a distraction. It's a projection. It's a, I don't know if projection is the right word, but it's a distraction. It's a distraction from being authentically who you truly want to be. Now, the thing is that I found that if I'm hoping, again, I'm going to get back to it now that I got that out of the way, because I just feel inspired to share that. Because, you know, I feel like these concepts can be simple, but it's good to hear them again and again and again, to be like, yep, and to solidify it even more. Because it's not just one thing. It's one thing to understand what I'm sharing. It's one thing to continually apply it consistently. That's another whole nother game, right? To understand what I'm sharing and think, yeah, that makes sense. That's one thing. To actually apply it consistently, again, in the face of the chaos, when you're working with that business partner and the chaos happens, see, it's easy to watch this video and be like, yeah, that makes sense, but are you going to actually apply it when the chaos comes up? That's the real question. Are you going to actually apply? Now, so what I want to conclude this video with is to, if you notice that you're hoping, drop the project temporarily, recharge. In my invitation and suggestion to you is to drop the project, recharge, and trust that you don't need to hope that your intention is going to come true. Trust that it is the case. It is the case. The case is that my intention is going to become reality no matter what. You could even say that it is a reality, but some people, that's too far-fetched, right? You could say that it already is the case. Another way to do it is to trust that it is going to happen. Imagine that your intention already is the case, of course, in your mind, but in terms of just, talking with people, just say, you know what, I trust that this is going to work out. I don't need to hope for this. I'm just going to revisit this at a later time. Does that make sense? It's not about hoping. It's not about desperately hoping that it's going to happen. It's about having enough self-trust within yourself to be like, you know what, I'm so consistent that failure is not an option. It's not an option because I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to make this become a reality. Not by forcing it. That sounds very forceful. But what I'm sharing is that you know it's a done deal in your mind, but it feels like it's like you're hoping too much. Take a step back and I'll figure it out. I don't know how I'm going to figure it out, but I'm going to figure it out. And you'll figure it out. It's about mastering your mind most of the time. It's not about forcing the reality. It's about consistently applying these concepts until it becomes fulfilled. Okay, and with that, I conclude this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, I'm only doing single sessions as well as email coaching. If you're interested in either of those things and want to get in contact with me personally, those are the only ways to work with me right now, and the details for both of those things will be down below. I sincerely hope that this was valuable for you. Let me know in the comments down below. Was this useful for you? Did this help you to see maybe some past patterns in your life in a new way that allowed you to move forward from that past related? Like, was this beneficial to you? Was it relatable to you? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to know. I'd love to hear about it, and other people would probably love to hear about it as well. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next